The boardroom fell silent as David slid the documents across the polished table, his smile growing wider with each passing second. I picked up the papers, already knowing what I'd find. "Take your time reading them, Alex," he said, leaning back in his chair. "I want you to fully appreciate just how thoroughly I've beaten you. My name is Alexander Chen, and at 35, I was watching my younger brother attempt his masterpiece of betrayal, stealing the tech company I'd built from the ground up. I scanned the documents, keeping my expression neutral. Transfer of ownership forms, board resolutions, shareholder agreements, all meticulously crafted to transfer control of Chen Tech Solutions to David Chen. 2 years, he said, practically bouncing with excitement. It took me 2 years to put all the pieces in place. All those late nights you thought I was working to help the company, I was actually working to take it." I set the papers down and looked at my brother. At 32, he still had the same smugness he'd shown as a kid when he thought he'd outsmarted everyone. Some things never change. "Well?" he prompted when I didn't immediately respond. "Nothing to say." I straightened my tie. "Just one question. Have you checked the patents?" His smile faltered slightly. "What about them?" "They're company property, which means they're mine now." I allowed myself a small smile. "Are you sure about that?" The seed of doubt I just planted was visible in his eyes, but he covered it quickly with a laugh. "Nice try, Alex, but I've thought of everything. Every asset, every contract, every piece of intellectual property. It's all mine now." The other board members, all people David had carefully selected and positioned over the past 2 years, shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They knew they were witnessing something ugly, but their loyalty had been bought and paid for. "You know, David," I said, standing up slowly, "I always wondered if you'd try something like this. Ever since we were kids, you couldn't stand that I built something successful without you." He snorted. "Built something? Please, you got lucky with one good idea in college. I'm the one who turned it into a real company. Is that what you tell yourself?" Chen Tech Solutions had started in my dorm room 12 years ago. One algorithm, one idea that I knew could change the way companies handled data security. I brought David in 3 years later, after our parents insisted I give my struggling younger brother a chance. "I deserve this company more than you do," he said, his voice taking on that whining tone I remembered from childhood. "I'm better at business, better with people. You're just a programmer who got lucky." I picked up my briefcase, feeling the weight of the real documents inside, the ones David didn't know about. "We'll see about that." Meeting adjourned. "That's it," David called after me as I walked toward the door. "No fight? No threats? Just walking away from everything you built?" I paused at the doorway. Sometimes, little brother, walking away is just the first step of a longer journey. The next morning, I drove to my lawyer's office instead of Chentech's gleaming headquarters. Susan Martinez had been my legal counsel since the company's early days, and more importantly, she was one of the few people who knew what was really going on. "I take it he made his move?" she asked as I settled into the chair across from our desk. I nodded. "Just like we predicted, right down to the dramatic boardroom reveal." She pulled out a thick folder. "And the patents? He hasn't checked them yet, but he will." Susan smiled. "When he does, he's in for quite a surprise." 2 years ago, when I first noticed David's unusual interest in our shareholder structure, I'd started preparing. Small changes, careful movements, all designed to appear as normal business operations. While David had been orchestrating his takeover, I'd been orchestrating something else entirely. "The new company is ready," Susan said, pushing a set of documents toward me. "Quantum Core Technologies is officially incorporated, with all the key patents already transferred and registered." I picked up the papers, remembering the night I first suspected David's betrayal. It had been during a family dinner, of all places. Flashback, 2 years ago. "You're working too hard, Alex," our mother said, passing the dumplings across the table. "You should let David handle more of the business side." I watched my brother's expression carefully. There was something in his eyes, a gleam I recognized from our childhood when he was plotting something. "Actually," David said, helping himself to the dumplings, "I've been thinking about taking on more responsibility. You know, lightening the load for my overworked big brother." Our father beamed. "That's the spirit. You two working together, building the family legacy." But I knew better. David had never been interested in building anything together. He'd always wanted to be the star, the leader, the success story. Later that night, I made 2 calls. The first was to Susan, asking her to quietly begin the process of securing our most valuable patents under my personal ownership rather than the company's. The second was to Dr. Patel, my old professor and mentor. I need your help, I told him, and I need absolute discretion. Over the next 6 months, while David thought I was focusing on our current projects, I was actually developing something new, something revolutionary. The quantum encryption algorithm that would make our existing technology look obsolete. I worked nights, weekends, anytime I could steal away without raising suspicion. Dr. Patel provided the quantum computing expertise while I handled the encryption architecture. Meanwhile, David grew bolder. He started having private meetings with board members, making subtle changes to reporting structures, shifting key personnel into positions that would support his takeover. I let him think I didn't notice. Every time he made a move, I made a counter move so subtle he never saw it coming. The thing about David, I explained to Susan during one of our strategy sessions, is that he's always underestimated me. He thinks because I'm quiet, because I focus on the technical side, that I don't understand the business game he's playing. Susan nodded, making notes. And that's our advantage. Exactly. He's so focused on taking what exists, he's not watching what's being created. The hardest part was maintaining normalcy. Every day, I went to the office, ran the company, and pretended not to see the betrayal unfolding around me. I had lunch with David, discussed projects, played the role of the oblivious older brother. Some days, watching him smile and plan my downfall, I felt a deep sadness. We'd been close once, before success and jealousy created this chasm between us. I remembered teaching him to code when he was in high school, staying up late helping him with his computer science homework. But that brother was gone, replaced by someone who saw my success as a personal insult, my achievements as something to be stolen rather than celebrated. So I built my contingency plans, secured my patents, and developed the next generation of our technology, all while letting David think he was the clever one, the mastermind orchestrating my downfall. Present day. Everything's in place, Susan confirmed, bringing me back to the present. The moment he tries to access the patent documentation, he'll discover that the core technology belongs to you personally, not Chentech. And the new quantum encryption patents are already safely registered to Quantum Core Technologies. I stood up, straightening my jacket. How long do you think it will take him to figure it out? She glanced at her watch. Given his usual morning routine, I'd say he's discovering it right about. My phone buzzed. David's name flashed on the screen. Now, Susan finished with a smile. I let it ring. David could wait a little longer. After all, he'd spent 2 years planning my downfall. He could spend a few hours realizing just how badly he'd miscalculated. What's your next move? Susan asked as I headed for the door. I paused, thinking about the office I'd left behind, the company I'd built, and the brother who thought he could take it all with a few signatures. Now, I said, we show him what real business strategy looks like. As I drove away from Susan's office, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. David had progressed from calls to texts. What did you do? Call me now. This isn't POSIBL. How did you hide this? I smiled, pulling into the parking lot of a small cafe. The same one where I'd written the first lines of code for Chentech 12 years ago. It seemed fitting to be here now. Finally, I answered his call. What the hell is going on? David's voice was shrill with panic. The patents. They're not. How did you? Take a breath, little brother, I said calmly. Use complete sentences. The core security algorithms, the encryption protocols, they're all registered under your name personally, not the company's. This isn't legal. Actually, it's perfectly legal. Check the licensing agreements. Chentech has been paying you licensing fees for years. It's all there in the financial records you apparently didn't review carefully enough. The silence on the other end was deafening. But that means, I finished for him, that you now own a company with no proprietary technology. Just a bunch of offices and equipment. Congratulations on your hostile takeover of an empty shell. I heard something crash in the background. David throwing things, no doubt. Some things never changed. You can't do this, he shouted. I'll sue you. I'll. Sue me for what? For protecting my intellectual property? For licensing it legally to the company? Go ahead. Every judge in the country will uphold my rights as the patent holder. More crashing sounds. I waited patiently for him to run out of things to throw. Oh, and David, there's one more thing you should know. What? He snarled. Check your email. I just sent you something interesting. I heard clicking sounds as he opened his computer, then dead silence. The email contained the press release going out in 1 hour, announcing the launch of Quantum Core Technologies and its revolutionary quantum encryption system. Technology that would make Chentech's existing systems obsolete within months. No, he whispered. No, no, no. Yes, I said quietly. While you were plotting to take over Chentech, I was building its replacement. Every major client we have has already seen demonstrations. They're just waiting for the official launch to sign new contracts. You played me, he said, his voice hollow. This whole time. I learned from the best, little brother. You taught me that family can't be trusted, so I planned accordingly. I could almost see him slumping in what used to be my office chair, the weight of his miscalculation crushing him. What do you want? He asked finally. To buy back Chentech? Name your price. I laughed softly. Buy back an obsolete company? Why would I want that? No, David. You wanted Chentech so badly, it's yours. Enjoy watching it become worthless as every client switches to quantum encryption. You're destroying everything. No, you did that when you decided to betray your own brother. I'm just ensuring my survival. Something you taught me the importance of. I ended the call and sat back, sipping my coffee. Within an hour, the press release would go out. By the end of the day, Chentech's stock would be in freefall as investors realized the company no longer owned its core technology. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from our mother. What have you done to your brother? He's devastated. I typed back, ask him what he did to me first. Then we can talk about devastation. Another message came through, this one from our father. Family should stick together. This isn't right. I thought about all the family dinners where they praised David's business acumen while dismissing my technical stuff. How they'd always push me to give him more control, more responsibility, more recognition. You're right, I replied. Family should stick together. Remember that next time one of your sons tries to steal everything from the other. The press release went out exactly on schedule. The tech world exploded with excitement over quantum encryption becoming commercially available. Our biggest clients started calling, eager to sign contracts with Quantum Core. And Chentech? By closing bell, its stock had dropped 60%. David's carefully orchestrated takeover had become a Pyrrhic victory. Late that evening, as I sat in my new office overlooking the city, I received one final text from David. I'm sorry. I didn't think you had it in you. I stared at those words for a long time before responding. That was always your problem, David. You never really knew me at all. I put my phone away and turned to the stack of contracts on my desk. Agreements from former Chentech clients ready to switch to Quantum Core. The quantum encryption patents would make me wealthier than Chentech ever had. But more importantly, I'd learned something valuable. Sometimes the best defense isn't fighting back. It's letting your opponent think they've won while you build something better. David got what he wanted, my old company. I got what I needed. Freedom to build something new, without having to watch my back for family betrayal. Sometimes losing everything is just the beginning of building something better.